Good afternoon, dear friends. Today I would like to talk about such an interesting topic. It is the relationship of those circumstances of life that we constantly touch. These are our rights, these are our duties. How they can match with each other. We all come into this world and, as it were, get the right to life, but at the same time, we all know that we will necessarily die after some time. That is, the right is also a duty. And these relationships constantly protect us in life. Or let's put it this way, they teach in life, but we always want to transfer our responsibilities to the field of rights. Well, for example, here children go to school, it is their direct duty to acquire knowledge and so on. But they have literally understood since elementary school that this is a kind of right. And how to use this right means you can learn somehow. That's how it means, respectively, the training will no longer be as serious as we would like. Then, after finishing school, they go to work and at work they also use their right. They want to work somehow, carelessly, and receive money as for a real serious job. You know, as they say, that everyone wants to work in a socialist way, and receive money in a capitalist way. And it was only because of this principle that we most likely brought the economy of the Soviet Union to such a crisis. And every smoker will say that smoking is my right. After all, there is no obligation that it is not impossible to smoke. But immediately after that there is such a commitment, for the loss of health. One has not gone away from the other. There are people who are addicted to drinking and they say, "This is my right. How much I want a liter. I'll drink a liter," and so on. But there is definitely a duty behind it. Which one? And this will certainly be trouble in the family, trouble at work, and health troubles. There's no getting away from it. I heard on the radio recently as one person, I was even outraged that he said such things. He said that taking care of his parents is like it's not quite right, because we didn't give them the right to give birth to us. That is, they gave birth to us as if without our knowledge and so on. And he thereby wants to say that we don't owe them anything. But I would like to say this to such smart guys, that since you treat your parents, without fail, this is your right to treat well or badly, but without fail your children will treat you the same way, whether you want it or not. Now there are so many scammers, both telephone and computer, and so on, who dream and who are trying, some probably succeed, to lure money in people, especially the elderly. Recently there was such information that over the past year several billion rubles were taken away from gullible people and they, allegedly using their right, rejoice that they managed to accumulate a fortune in this way. But they do not know that they will necessarily go through serious trials. The ones they didn't even think about. That it could lead them into such a wilderness. This is the relationship, there is no getting away from it. There are still people who are not enough all the time, and who, with all sorts of crooked, themselves, increase this state and think that this is in order to get happiness. But there is also such a thing here, that none of these people will ever necessarily be the owner of happiness. This is excluded, because happiness is a spiritual essence, and not a material one. They cannot be compared in any way. There is no person on earth who would not dream of health. Everyone dreams of health, but the thing is that there is also such a relationship here. We cannot imagine the cause of the disease of the absolute majority of people. What's the matter? Why are we given the right to live, but not the duty to be healthy? So it also turns out here, if you have taken upon yourself the responsibility to be a person, with a capital letter, the most worthy person, then you then get the right to be healthy. Imagine what interesting dependencies. Why? Let's explain. The thing is that for our body we are nothing but a boss, and so on. And all our internal organs, and all our cells, millions of cells of which we are composed, they will listen to how its owner behaves. If this owner deceives, if the owner is angry, if he is jealous, if he behaves aggressively, nervous, etc., they adopt this experience and become carriers of these negative qualities, which then are provocateurs of the disease. Friends, it's just like difficult families always have difficult children. Why? Because they have no other, they only see the experience that they have. And then, therefore, please look at your children. If you see any negative skills in your children, do not scold them. Know that this is what they have learned from you. One to one. There is simply no other. This is very important to know. Obligation, it is transmitted. The thing is that this is the implementation of the so-called law of cause and effect relationships. This is the universal law of cause and effect. Nothing can happen without the corresponding reasons that were before. Everything is subject to these laws. Everything we get from life is a consequence. The consequence is the obligation, and the reason is the opportunity or the right to do so or so. But we necessarily receive only what we have introduced into this very law. What should we do? How? What do you need for yourself? What adjustments? The thing is that all nature lives according to the laws of harmony. Everything is organic in it. Look, for example, at such simple examples. All predators run slower than their potential victims. That is, the victims were given the opportunity to run away from them. And everywhere there are such patterns. And that's exactly how we live. This is called the harmony of life. And when we put things in order inside ourselves, that is, when we control our behavior, when we do not give ourselves the opportunity to go beyond moral, benevolent, merciful relationships, then we simply have no right to get sick. You understand what interesting things, it turns out. We are told that we must live by the laws. But even the ancient Greek philosopher Democritus said that you can't live by the laws, because laws are not needed for good people. For the bad ones, they won't help them in any way. And so the epistle from James says that the light has come into the world. But the fact is that most people live near, and they are afraid of this light, because it will highlight their negativity. And only those who live in the light, this color helps them to become more healthy, joyful and happy people. Thanks.